Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about what I've learned from 7+ years of journaling. Technically, it's been like on and off journaling, but if you count it all, it's like 7 years and above. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what I've learned from 7+ years of journaling. And yes, in the thumbnail, all those journals that you saw, I wrote in them. I wrote in every single one of them from the first page up until literally the last page. So yeah. Okay, so I first want to talk about the benefits of journaling. I know you've probably heard everyone always says journal, 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 it's so great, da, da, da. They're right, it is great. Honestly, as an avid journaler, like I journal pretty much every day now, and I feel like that's the only way that I can kind of keep myself like, I don't want to say sane, but just like in check, is to journal every day. And even if I don't journal every day, it's like not the end of the world, but I do like to at least journal like frequent, like I said, every day if I can. And journaling is just a really great way, honestly, of just getting out whatever you're feeling and whatever emotions that you have, whatever thoughts are running through your mind, whatever is really disturbing you, things that you think of, things that like that make you upset, or even epiphanies that you have, realizations. Maybe if you understand something now and something clicked in your mind. So I looked back in my old journals and I came up with 6 things that I've learned from 7+ years of journaling. So the first thing that I learned from journaling is that nothing lasts forever. When I was looking back at my journal from like 2015 and then looking at the journal from like 2018, I'm like, oh my goodness, such a change, such a shift. Like, it's like the things that I was thinking at the time, the things that I was involved in are completely different from the things that I was involved in 2018. And even from 2018 up until now, again, another complete shift. And it's like a shift that I never really saw myself going through. Like, I mean, I went from literally being one completely different person into a whole new person, and it's really great to see that. But it also, I saw like the parts of my life that I didn't necessarily like, or even the parts of myself that I didn't necessarily like, and even those changed. And it surprised me the most to see that, because sometimes you think like, oh man, I have this bad habit, I don't know if I'll get over it, or just like you maybe hate a certain aspect of yourself and you just think to yourself like, I don't know how I'm gonna ever overcome it, or I just really hate myself. But you know, as years go on and as time goes on, like you do eventually either phase out of it, you do learn to like love yourself, or you do change that aspect of yourself that you like didn't like, or even the certain aspects of your life change that you didn't like. And so it's just like seeing through, like looking through my journals and seeing all of that reminds me that like, you know, nothing is really forever. The good, the bad, all of it changes, all of it goes. And it's, I don't know, it just reminded me of like the journey of life, you know? Like I used to hear all the time and I'll be like, yeah, I know, I get it. Like life is a journey, all that stuff. Yeah, it's incredible. But like seeing like actual, like my writing, like from that time up until now, I'm like, it really is. Like it actually is. And it's so insane. Like you don't even realize it in the moment until you look back and you're like, oh, wow, that was a lot. And then like, and it feels like such a short amount of time, but like, yeah, it's so crazy. So definitely I feel like with journaling, it's taught me that, you know, things move on, good things move on, bad things move on. The second thing that I learned from journaling is that you know the answer to your questions. And I know this may seem like, what do you mean? And here's the thing, when I look back, there was a lot of things that I was questioning, like myself, my ability, who I was with, who I was as a person. Like there was a lot of that. And as I progressed and as I looked into more and more of my journals, and I saw how my life changed, I realized that the questions that I had for myself, I already had the answer to. Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, I know it all, but it's like, you know, from looking at it from a perspective of faith, I feel like it was really Allah, like, implemented in me, like, the answer. Like, he showed me, like, he was showing me the signs, he was showing me the answers, but it was just a matter of me recognizing it and seeing it. Some of my journals, I saw myself doubting myself and my abilities of, like, accomplishing certain things. And then I fast forward to like a couple of journals like a few years ahead, and I'm like, I did that. And like I wrote about it, how I did that, and I'm just like, so I already, like, here I am years before questioning, and then like couple of years later, it's like I did it, and I'm just like, Look at that. I say that to just say that if you are doubting yourself, and if you feel like you don't like necessarily, like you have so many questions and you don't feel like you have the answers to them, trust me, you do have the answers to them. Allah is definitely going to provide you with the answers, show you the answers. But the thing is, you have to be willing to listen and willing to just have enough self-awareness, have enough good observation to see the answers. And I think that's the big thing. It's like, if you don't see the answers, if you are not still and silent and really listen attentively or watch things attentively, then it'll just literally pass you by, and you won't even know, and you'll still be asking yourself or still be complaining to Allah like, oh, this and this and this. But it's like, the answer's right there. Answer's right there. Like, it's right there. And sometimes it's like, a person says something, or sometimes you hear something, or sometimes it's just your intuition, like it's your gut, and like that's a lot, like, like talking to you. And subhanallah, like it's honestly like you I'm telling you, like the questions that you have, there's an answer to it, and most of the time you do have, like, Allah's providing you with the answers. Questions I was asking myself and all that self-doubt years before, years later, here I am. Like, here I am. Here, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Clap for me. Thank you. Here I am. The third thing that I've learned is that no day is the same. And this kind of ties into like the whole nothing lasts forever. When I was reading the journals in which I like journaled in like an entry every single day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it was so crazy to see how like something would happen to me on Tuesday, and then Wednesday would be like completely different, like it'd either be like a really good day for me and I'd be like, wow, it's amazing, or like the next day would be like mid, and then like the next day again an amazing day, and then the next day, boom, it's like something like, like not bad, but like, something not so great. There are good days, there are bad days, and just seeing how like, forget life in itself like as a entity, but like the days within our lives, each and every day is different, and each and every day has something to bring to us, whether we think of it as good or think of it as bad. Like, just seeing that, I'm like, wow, like that's really like, that's crazy. It's like one day I'm doing this, and the next day I'm here, the next day I'm like crying in bed, the next day I'm like jump and happy, and I'm like, it's so crazy to see. And it almost feels like you're like reading a movie. Even it's like every day it's like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next, or no. Just from that, I've learned that every day is different, and I feel like it's made me appreciate just to be alive every single day. Like every day has its own gift, and so whatever you do with it, like even if like let's say you're not feeling great and you haven't been feeling great for a while, it's still a day that you can seize even in the smallest way, whether that's making your bed or feeding yourself or just being outside. Like every day is a gift, and so take it as you can. And I think that's just another like, I don't know, important thing to remember, that every day is going to be different. No day is going to be the same. Every day is going to bring something new, and there's no real way to prepare for it. It's just a matter of going through. Fourth thing that I've learned is that the little things matter. And one thing that I've noticed within my journals is that there have been a lot of times where I literally wrote like the first thing, it was like, I'm so excited to eat cereal, like, or like there was another part I saw, I was like, I'm so excited to like drink this, or I'm so excited to eat this. Like, it's such small things, but when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Like just like the smallest things, like the things that we probably don't think about too much, that we think, okay, yeah, it's gonna be there, but like I feel like from my past self, I guess I learned that like, taking account the small things that you have is so important, because when you don't have them, you notice them. Like, you will definitely notice them, and you just honestly need to be grateful for what you have, and just be grateful for even the smallest things that you have. Like this pen, I'm able to write with this pen. I'm able to talk to you with my voice, to see with my eyes, to be able to walk, to be able to drink, orange juice, to drink my oat milk, to eat my lunch, which I haven't eaten yet, but I can eat it because I can. There's a saying, it goes like, you don't really know the value of something unless you lose it. That is so true. Like, for example, like, oh yeah, and there's like a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, like, I think look after 5 things before like they're taken away. It's like your is it your health before your like your death, your youth before your old age, your wealth before you have no money, being grateful. It honestly just makes your life better. Like, just being grateful for what you have, even if you may not be in the best situation, can honestly help you get through so much difficulty and so much of whatever life throws at you. And even Allah says, like, if you're grateful, I will increase you, you know? And being ungrateful, honestly, doesn't put you in a better position. If anything, it just makes it worse. Gratitude is so important. And in order to have gratitude, you have to accept your reality. And once you accept your reality, you accept the way things are, and you start to understand things, then having gratitude will be so much more easier, and you'll just feel like you're just on top of the world. You feel like you have everything in life. Like, you just literally feel like the richest person ever. Even if you're not materialistically rich, but like, you just feel rich. So the fifth thing that I have learned from journaling 7+ years is that journaling, honestly, this is more focused towards journaling and not like life in itself. But journaling within itself, the act of just like writing out how your day went and your emotions and what's troubling you or what's making you happy, honestly makes you more intuitive of yourself and much more connected to yourself. At least for me, it does. And journaling for me, especially every day, I mean, it really does help me see myself and see my progress, see how I'm doing, see like just the changes I'm going through. And I saw this especially in my past journals, like the journals from like even last year and the year before that. Like, I could just understand myself more. So I just want to drive in the point that, you know, journaling has definitely helped me become much more intuitive of myself and helped me to recognize what I value, what, you know, I don't value, what I don't like, what I do like. And it just like seeing, especially my past journals, makes me understand myself more and makes me understand, okay, like this is where I was before, so now I want to be in this place, you know? And this leads perfectly into my last point that I have for today. And that is, journaling has helped me to accept myself, to love myself, to show compassion to myself. I've developed much more compassion and empathy for myself, especially when I see with the things that I used to go through internally and externally. And then seeing my journals now and seeing the current ones that I have, it's just like, I understand myself more. And you know, before I used to be so hard on myself, I would be like, you know, why did I do this? Why did I do that? And just self-deprecate myself and almost like self-punish myself for the things that I did. When I look back at my journals and I read about the things that like I've been through and whatnot, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like if this was like, if it was like another person, I'd be like, dang, like I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, that's a lot. Like, you know, like I would develop compassion for them. When I was reading through my past journals, I was able to develop a sense of acceptance for myself, for who I was at that time and what I did in order to cope with whatever I was going through. And I was able to also develop a sense of love, because it was like, despite all that I went through, like I still try to find a way to become better. I still try to find a way to connect with Allah. I still try to find a way to make things better, you know, even if it was so small. And even during the times where I didn't, you know, necessarily uplift myself, where I was like, you know, not being the best version for myself, I still like was able to develop compassion and acceptance for that version of myself, because, you know, that version of myself, although it was very unhealthy, not the greatest, I still saw myself, and I mean, I could understand why I was doing the things I was doing in the past, you know? I could understand why some of the things I did in the past I'm still doing today. I can still understand why, like, okay, like this happened to you, so now it makes sense why you're acting this way or why you used to act this way, you know? That's it for this video. I don't know, I hope this video didn't feel too scattered. I think the greatest thing about journaling is that if you continue on with it over the years, and if you save your journals and you can look back on them, some of them may be hard to read, because honestly, there's some journals that like I just did not touch, because I'm like, no, I know what you have inside of you and I don't want to read it. But then there are other journals which you read and you're able to be like, wow, like I went through that and I was able to come out of it, or I went through that and it was tough, but here I am, you know? And so I definitely think that like journaling and just saving your journals and even just reading like back on them can really help you feel, like I mentioned before, compassion for yourself. You understand yourself more. You're able to really understand the value of life and how much value your life has. And yeah, I mean, it's nothing but good, honestly. And pair that up with like, you know, prayer and whatnot. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. not the camera. Hey. Okay, bye-bye.